Alright, my name is Paddock. I'm a student researcher here in the OPL, and I started working back in the fall. And I am a graduate from RIT software engineering program. I'm here researching a lot of cool stuff, everything from Me Too, which is what Matt was describing earlier, that social networking game, to Page2Pub, our application for gathering content, which I'm sure Matt described with the Rochester travel guide. My role here is primarily to direct some of the projects at a practical level, getting the right artifacts and the right process down so we can get it there on schedule, hopefully. Some projects, because we're research and development, go a little over schedule, but we try to keep it constrained and try and keep the creativity flowing and the momentum going so we can get a lot of cool stuff out there and into people's hands so they can play with it, and then if they like it, download the source code and start playing with it themselves. So right now my current project is the Page2Pub project, and we are actually in the midst of posting our release to our website so people can download it and play with it themselves. So if you want, I can give you guys a demo of what it does, and then when we get it up on the site, you can go download it yourselves. So as Matt described, our typical use case for it is creating a travel guide, possibly from RockWiki, the Rochester wiki. So a user can go into RockWiki and do a search for places of interest. So in this case, maybe I'm interested in ice cream. I want to create an ice cream travel guide. So I did a search for that, and RockWiki has all these different places I can visit in Rochester that have ice cream. So I'm going to look at one and read a little bit about it and say, okay, hey, this looks like something that I want to visit. So our Page2Pub extension is it's an extension of Mozilla Firefox, and it allows a user, while they're browsing the web, to gather up content into a container format called EPUB. And so I'm going to go ahead and gather this page, and the first time that you gather a page, if you haven't already opened an EPUB, it'll ask you to create one. So I'm going to go ahead and create this ice cream EPUB here. And what our software just did was it gathered this entire page. So all the content of the page has now been gathered into the ice cream EPUB. And I can go on and look at other ice cream places and say, okay, I want that too, and I'll gather that up. And it'll add that to the existing ice cream EPUB. So I have all this content self-contained in this EPUB file, and I can do two things with it. I can either keep it in the file, and that way it's portable on my laptop or my netbook, and I can read it offline without having to go to the web, or I can prepare it for print with the rendering component of our system. So I'm going to open up this ice cream EPUB in Adobe Digital Editions to show what the EPUB content looks like if I was just taking it on my netbook or other computer. I just wanted a self-contained document without having to go to the web. So this is the EPUB that I just gathered up, and this has all the information from RockWiki about those two ice cream places I was just looking at. So the first one was Cornhill Creamery, and here's all the information about that. And then further on in the document, I have Luja's Ice Cream. Now, you might notice this looks a little different than it did on the RockWiki site. Our extension will gather up mostly the content of the page, not necessarily the presentation information, such as the template or the background information, things that format the text, because that's really going to go away if you decide that you're going to prepare this for print. And if you're gathering up the content, really all you care about is the body, like the core content of the article. So, this is what the raw EPUB looks like. But if I wanted to create a book out of this isn't very nice, because there's a lot of information I don't care about. Like, these links up here are not useful to me if I have a book, because I can't just open the book and hold my finger on the page and hope it'll take me to that other article. So, for our rendering component, which is also launchable from our Firefox extension, it will load the EPUB that you just saw and strip out a lot of that information I don't care about. So this component right here that's loading right now is our Page2Pub rendering system. And it's loading the EPUB that I was just demoing with, and it's stripping out the information we don't need and reflowing it so it'll fit the print layout that I've chosen. And by default, it'll start with an 8.5 by 11 print layout. And this is a preview of the content that's being included in the print version. And it's a little rough. This is not necessarily a true preview. It's something that we want to work on in a future version. But we're calling this our feature preview release, so it's giving you a taste of what a lot of the larger features of our application are. So I'm going to go ahead and render this to PDF, but before I do that, I want to switch to a postcard layout, or postcard size, because I want it in a smaller book. Basically the format that Matt was demoing with earlier, that's postcard size. So now you can see that it's changed the flow a little bit, and the margins are a little tighter and the book is a little narrower. I'm going to output that to PDF. I'm going to call this icecream.pdf, how original of me. And now our system is going to render that to a printable PDF. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open that PDF and show you what the print version looks like. So this is the final output from our system. It has a nice table of contents and a header to let you know what version of our software generated it, page numbers, and here's the content I gathered. And you'll notice that this looks a lot different than it did in Adobe Digital Editions. What you should notice is that we have the content we were interested in. So the important information in that table at the top of the article, the description of the ice cream place, and some reviews of it, some comments from visitors. But we've lost the navigational links, the map icons, and any of the other stuff that would be out of place in print. And so that's really been the goal of our project, is not only to reflow it so it looks attractive, but also remove things that just don't make sense in that medium. And that is Page2Pub.